Hello and welcome to HxGN Hacks. My name is Rebecca and I will be presenting today. And just to let everyone know, over the next few weeks, we're going to focus on version 12.3.1. So if you're curious about some of the enhancements and new functionality that's available, be sure to join us each Wednesday as we highlight topics related to EAM version 12.3.1. So today's topic is the new work order resource scheduling. So one of the key capabilities introduced in version 12.3.1 with work order resource scheduling is a two-phased scheduling approach. And this helps to bridge the gap between maintenance planning and execution. So the first phase is called resource scheduling. This process focuses on long-range planning and workload balancing, typically across or for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So the system will evaluate upcoming work order activities and match those to the appropriate trades and resources, such as electricians, mechanics, or even crews, while also balancing workloads as evenly as possible across the available personnel or employees. Schedulers can manually assign work or use an auto schedule functionality, which I'll show you in a few moments. But at this stage, these are planning schedules only. They're designed to help organizations optimize labor utilization and visualize future workloads using the scheduling timeline. Now, once the resource scheduling has been completed, so once those proposed schedules are reviewed and approved, the process moves to a second phase. And this is going to be familiar to most of you if you do scheduling currently in EAM. So the labor scheduling is typically performed by supervisors and focuses on short-term execution planning, typically for the next 1 to 2 weeks. Supervisors have an opportunity to review the suggested schedule for their teams, make adjustments, and finalize the assignments. Unlike resource scheduling, labor scheduling incorporates the qualifications and creates the scheduled labor records. And then once this is approved, the resources can begin working on their assigned tasks. So let's take a look at this in EAM. There is a new screen available called Work Order Resource Scheduling Setup. So you will need to add this screen to the applicable user group menus. For R5, it was added under Work and then Setup. Now, keeping in mind the two-phase approach, we have first resource schedule. Okay? So when you come out here to set up the work order resource scheduling, you're going to have an opportunity to define the type. So first you'll want to set up the resource schedule. As I mentioned previously, typically this is going to be a broader kind of scheduling where maybe you're looking across an entire site, an entire organization, to balance workloads as evenly as possible. I created mine to be tighter in terms of the department and shift, but the department and shift are multi-select. So you would be able to create the resource schedule for that broader group of work order activities and employees. Okay. What you're also doing out here is you are defining the scheduling details. And that is going to allow you some control over the work order activities that are included in the scheduling, the equipment, and your resource types, which are your trades. And the data spies can be set up directly on the work order resource scheduling setup screen. So there's one for the work order activities, resource types, which are our trades, and the equipment. So in this scenario, I just set up a data spy where I wanted to exclude work order activities that were for hired labor. And I also wanted to exclude any activities tied to a project. So you can create the data spies to align with what you want to include in the resource scheduling. One thing to note is when you are creating these data spies, they do need to be set up as global data spies. So just a little tip is you would have to save it as a global data spy. Otherwise, you will receive an error message. Okay. Now, once you've set up your resource schedule, you can set up one or more labor schedules tied to the resource schedule. So when the type is set to labor schedule, you would be able to associate the resource schedule. So basically what happens is your schedulers going through the resourcing process. Okay, once that's done, then your supervisor is going to come in, and from the resource schedule, they're going to actually schedule the labor in terms of what most of us are familiar with in EAM when it comes to scheduling. Okay. Keep in mind that when the type is labor schedule, the department and shift need to be a subset of those that are tied to the resource schedule. So if my resource schedule was for many departments and many shifts, I need to select, from what was included in the resource schedule, I need to select from that list for my labor schedule. It could be all, or it could just be a subset. Now there is a new scheduling screen called Work Order Resource Scheduling. This will need to be added to the applicable user group menus. For R5, it was added under Work Order Planning, Work Order Resource Scheduling. So what this looks like in practice is you would first start with the resource schedule. Okay. And I have mine here for general maintenance and repair. When we're talking about the resource scheduling, okay, we're thinking of that long-term horizon. So I could bump this date range out, to 6 to 8 weeks, and the system's going to automatically update the end date. Now, something to note is you cannot schedule in the past on the screen, regardless of the scheduling past install parameter that you may be using for, say, the work order daily scheduling, or if you're scheduling directly from a work order. Okay, so I will need to go ahead and bump this to today. Now the department and shift are going to auto-populate from our setup. You'll notice some options down below, okay? And so you can adjust these. So I changed the zoom level from 3 to 5, and I selected my color coding entity to the work order type. Okay. So once you've updated the options, you can then proceed with scheduling. So you'll want to click Start Scheduling, and then the system will direct you to the resource scheduling screen. Now, this may look familiar to if you're currently scheduling in EAM. Just keep in mind that this is resource scheduling, so we're not actually creating those schedule labor records yet. Okay. If I go over here, I could look at, today's schedule. Like I said, we would be looking far in, advance for that 6 to 8 weeks. But for the sake of time, let me call out a few things. First is there is this auto schedule option. Okay. So what the system will do is try to balance the workload and auto schedule, resource schedule the work order activities to our resources down below. If the system's unable to, you'll be able to filter those from the to be scheduled data spy, and you'll see those error messages listed here. Okay. I can also, I'm just going to cancel this and go back in. I could also do the resource scheduling one by one. So if I select a work order activity, I could go in and I could say schedule the work order activity, and you'll see how it scheduled that activity. And if there's any issues here, okay, as we can see here, you'll receive that error message. So I'm just going to make note of this work order. I just want to be mindful of the time that we have together today. So work order 14327. Okay. Let me just hop over here to the work order screen. And there is a new tab out here for resource schedule labor. Okay. So this is different than the schedule labor. It's a new tab that you can make available via screen permissions. Okay. So what I could do at this point in time, let's say we auto scheduled or we did the resource scheduling far out in advance. I could then come out here. I can view the utilization. This actually pulls up a business intelligence dashboard, which is very helpful, and be on the lookout for an upcoming session on the new BI enhancements. And then in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and approve the schedule. And at this point in time, we've done the resource scheduling. That's when it's going to be, say, the supervisor could come in and do the actual labor scheduling for the next 1 to 2 weeks. So this is when you would come out here and select the labor schedule. Okay, you could update the scheduled days, any of the options detailed below. And then this time when I click Start Scheduling, the system will direct us to the labor scheduling tab. Okay. This is the one that was done as part of the resource scheduling process. If I wanted to update it or if I needed to manually schedule resources, I can always drag and drop from this interface. Okay. And then when I'm done, okay, you can always, at any point in time, you can accept the resource schedules. Okay. And if I go and look at our work order, okay, and I'm just going to look at 14327 here. If I hop over to the Schedule Labor tab, it's at this point in time when that scheduled labor record is created. Okay. So that occurs during the labor scheduling process. Okay. Now I could proceed with my scheduling here. And then when I'm done as my supervisor, I could go ahead and approve the schedules. If I wanted to, I could always cancel it. Okay, but I'm just going to go ahead and approve, and it will take me back to the work order resource scheduling parameters tab. Okay. Now, some things to be mindful of when we talk about work order resource scheduling. First of all, you will need to set up status authorizations for the WRSS entity. A good reference point is to look at the status authorizations for the R5 user group. and use that as a baseline for your organization's user groups. You may also want to consider enabling multi-org security for the WRSS entity. As I mentioned previously, there are 2 new screens that will need to be added to the user group menus. And a couple of things, the screen permissions, we did look at the resource schedule labor tab, but there is the option to define dependencies. Dependencies would allow you to say, before I schedule, work order A, I need to complete work order B, or it needs to be after a certain date, or some other dependencies. So I would encourage you to explore that functionality. And we didn't have time to review crew scheduling today, but crews can be scheduled to work orders as part of this process, okay? And so there is more on crews, including the organization option listed here on the screen, okay? And this particular org option allows you to control if the scheduled labor for work orders creates for a crew, whether or not that will be split into separate records for each crew employee. So hopefully this provides you with an introduction to work order resource scheduling. As of this morning, there is not a brief that's been published on this new functionality. But if you're watching this on YouTube, I will be sure to put a comment under the video when that brief becomes available. But thank you all for your time today, and we hope to see you back next week as we continue exploring EAM version 12.3.1. Hope you all have a great day.